If you can give a piece of advice to someone who is just starting out with their photo booth business, what would it be?
I would say it's worth it. There's a lot of potential here. You just have to do it the right way in the beginning. Invest in the right equipment, develop good habits, learn as much as you can. I can make an extra 10 to 20K. I hired a VA to help me manage my leads, just interacting with clients. I hired attendants to help me work these events. Because if it's just me, and it usually was back then, I can only do one event a night. So I think the mindset of trying to make this business grow rather than just treating it like a side hustle. Because to be honest,
all right, Chris, if you can, tell me a little bit about yourself.
yeah, so Chris here, living in Springfield, Virginia. From Hawaii, but I left in 2010 when I joined the Army, and now living in Virginia since 2018. And I'm photo boothing since December 2018 as well. Doing it for a bit, and I love it. I love photography too, so it helps.
Yeah. So what's the story behind your photo booth business? Like, how'd you get started and what was the reason?
Good question. I love photography. I've been doing it since 2008. So I had that background. And in 2011, I got into studio flash and lights. So I tried to do that. And then I got engaged in 2014. I was deployed for most of the engagement. So my wife did most of everything, the planning. And my job was to book the photographer, videographer, and the photo booth. And so looking for the photo booth, I was looking for a long time. And I saw the PBSEO legacy booth. And I was like, that's the booth I want. But when I was trying to look for it, I couldn't find it to book. It was to buy that booth. For that photo booth, I booked whoever I could find. And when they showed up, it was a good booth, but I thought I could have done a better job. So that's when the fire started burning for a little bit. And then I left active duty in 2017. And my wife's family, they're all entrepreneurs. So they inspire me a lot. They're business owners. My in-laws own a gas station. They own a yogurt shop and grocery stores and Subways. It's inspiring me because, they can do it and they just did it. So for me, I thought about it for a long time and I finally did it. I found a legacy on Craigslist for a good deal in 2018. And then I just did it. I thought about it for years and then it took me a while to just do it and just figure it out along the way. It helps going to the groups to learn and ask questions. But a lot of it too was a lot of trial and error as well. And from there, you just keep learning. There's always new services, new software, and then things you can do.
Yeah, for sure. So 2018. So you've been in it for about close to 6 years now. And this year has been your best year yet, right?
Yep.
For your business. So for you, what really helped your business take off?
To be honest, it was a deliberate action. If you treat this like a side hustle, you'll get side hustle results. And I just spent the money the right way. So I hired a VA so leading up to that, I did a lot of SEO to get leads to my site. And that takes a while. It doesn't happen right away. But back then, a couple of years ago, I would, if I was booked for one day and then I got another inquiry for that day, I would just ghost them or not really pay attention to it. I'd say I was already booked. After 6 years, I decided that this needs to take off this year. Otherwise, what's the point? I can make an extra 10 or 20K, but I'm working a lot. I can make 20K like part-time doing like Uber or another part-time job. But I was getting all these leads. I couldn't keep up. I hired a VA to help me manage my leads and I'm just interacting with clients. I hired attendants to help me work these events. Because if it's just me, and it usually was back then, I can only do one event a night. So I think the mindset of trying to make this business grow rather than just treating it like a side hustle. Because to be honest, you make a lot of money on your weekdays, not just the weekends. I think weekday events are the best events because then even if you don't get booked in the weekends, you already made your money in the weekdays. And having the team to work these events so you can have 2 or 3 events in one night instead of just one. I think deliberate action, not treating it as a side hustle, and just trying to close your lead and make that money.
Before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like this video. This channel is here to help photo booth business owners book more events, increase their profits, and build a business that gives you freedom. Freedom with your time, your income, and the way you live your life. I really like that, and I'm gonna drill down a little bit more. So at what point did you decide this is not a side hustle? Like this is actually a business that I need to take serious. Where were you at that time, and what made it click for you, or what made you have that understanding? What kind of got you there?
Yeah, I think what made it not want to be a side hustle anymore was just I'm investing all this time into this business. It can't just be our part-time thing where I'm wasting all this energy and I don't have much to show for it. So this year was the year where I like, this needs to hit 6 figures because it's already year 6. If I don't, then what's the point? I have all this equipment, and plus two is kicking over my weekends and my home office. So I needed to free up my weekends and also take my home office back. So I got the studio. But what I had to do first was get the team behind me first. I had to grow the team. So I had to get the VA to help me manage my bookings, the client relationship. I had to build the team to work the events. And once I think I had a solid team, then I got the studio. And for me, to have these leads keep coming in, I just had to continue working the SEO just to maintain that momentum. But for me, I just wanted to make money, a lot of money, and just to try to see how far I can take it.
Yeah, for sure. So now looking back at your good year and what got you there, what do you feel were I guess if you were to give the top 3 things you feel that contributed to basically the bookings? Because that's what a lot of photo booth owners want to know. Like, how do you get booked, right? For you, if there was these top 3 like that you absolutely need to be doing to get 6 figures in sales, what would that be and why?
I started in December 2018, and all I wanted to do was just get booked, but I didn't know how to get booked. I wanted to get booked and get paid properly and have it worth my time. And everyone starts in the beginning. I guess you got to pay your dues and not charge a lot just to get the experience. And I did it just to see if I could do an event by myself, just to get the experience. Yeah. But eventually, you're gonna have to hit this road where you hear how people get leads, SEO or social media, and I think eventually you're gonna need to pick one road and commit to it, or not commit, just learn it. So in the beginning, I chose SEO. I didn't know what it was, but I chose it. I chose to go that route. I learned it, and it helped me get that heads up to get leads, just to get the ball rolling. And then SEO's been working well for me right now, and now I'm going to explore going into some ads and see how that works. Awesome. I'm sorry, you said top 3.
Yeah, no, all good. I guess for you, like top 3 ways that generate leads and bookings for you that you believe are really working right now.
Top 3 ways to get leads? I only know SEO. Top 3 ways to grow.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. You mentioned that building out your team with the VA and now the studio. So let's backtrack a little bit. How did you land on VA and why?
You know what? That's a good question, because it takes, so for the VA, to be honest with you, I just went through an agency to hire the VA, only because I needed to hire someone that's qualified from the beginning. So all I can do is train. Because in the beginning, to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. Or I knew what I was doing for the business, but I didn't know how to train that person. Once I hired the VA, I just started documenting how I do things, my workflow, how I interact with the client and when. But I had to make things easier for them. I made canned responses. So my workflow, I have 8 or 10 follow-up emails I send to clients. And all they do is just go down the line and send them a follow-up email every 3 or 4 days. And it's numbered in order. Yeah, I hired the VA through an agency because I thought that the agency would vet the VA on their experience and their work ethic. And it helped a lot. My VA is the best VA. It truly helps me a lot. I trained him on how to create events, the snap pick, all the activities that don't make me money, he does. So for me, I'll do a lot of sales. I'll close sales. I'll get on the phone and talk to clients or potential clients. I'll text, all that stuff. But the VA helps me free up a lot of my time so that the activities I do focus on are the ones that make money. As far as the attendants, that's another big piece of my team. I have 4 that I hired on Indeed. Really, I just looked for people that love photography and videography, because that's what we do. And I feel like if you hire people that love those hobbies, they know how to take a good photo. They understand what a good photo looks like as far as exposure and video as well. And most likely, if they like to do photography and videography, they like to be around people and have fun. And again, with that, I had to document how I do my processes so I can train them. So I have 2 attendants that have been with me since May, and they're experts, they're leads, and they can go out to events and they have their support team with them as well. So I send out 2 attendants per event, 1 support, 1 lead, and they're awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So walk me through the process. Let's say they have like an event today. How do they like pack up the equipment, or what is that process like?
Yeah, for sure. So when we have an event, first my VA gets with them to see who can work. So he signs a lead attendant and a support attendant. And one of my attendants, they'll go to the office or the studio about 3 or 4 days before the event. They'll review the project in Google Calendar. So
Yeah.
the Google Calendar it feeds into Honeybook too, or from Honeybook. So
Yeah.
it has all of the details, what kind of event, location, photo booth type, any props, backdrop, all that stuff. It has all the details. So they'll pack the equipment on a cart at the studio probably 3 or 4 days before the event. And then when the day before the event, the lead attendant picks it up, and all they do is just roll it out of the studio on a cart because it's all ready to go.
Yeah. So real quick, who programs the booths and what app are you using?
So I use Snapic, my VA. Right? He does everything. Yeah.
Okay. So he goes on like the web interface and sets up the kit. Yeah.
We have also as part of us setting up, I have a dedicated setup station at the studio. So it's already set up, ready to go. They'll just load the event, test shot, test print, to make sure it prints correctly. They'll tape that test print onto the photo booth, like on the sheet. So that way whoever picks it up knows that this is what the template's gonna look like. Also the backdrop's gonna be in there.
Yeah.
And the lead attendant picks it up. They arrive 2 hours prior to the event, set up, send me a photo of the setup, test shot, test print, and then if it's good, they're good, execute. And then call me if there's an issues, and there's not. A photo thing is easy. If you have the right equipment, if you know your equipment, and if you have the right stuff, it's not hard to have a flawless event for the most part. If you use the DSLR camera with strobe, everything's gonna be perfect. Lighting's good, prints are good. I've been fortunate enough to not have any big failures during an event. I think part of that is choosing the software that you're comfortable with and having backup plans in case anything does happen.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate your valuable information there. As far as like backups, what does your backups look like? I know you mentioned like backups. Yeah. What are some things that you back up?
So for every cord and hub that goes into a system, I have a backup box. Backup plugs, printer cords, flash cables, sinks, hot shoe sinks. No, we don't have a backup photo booth at an event. Worst case scenario is most of our events are no more than 30 minutes from our studio. Worst case scenario is one attendant will go back to the studio and get a backup, whatever it is, and then bring it back to the event. But yeah, backups are just backup cords, plugs, cables. That's it.
Yeah.
We've had some failures for a 360 where the hub failed. Thankfully, we did have backup hubs, but that's about it. Thankfully, nothing's ever broken at an event. No cameras fallen.
Yeah,
we're good there.
For sure. If you don't mind me asking, what 360 are you using currently?
Yeah, I have an OrcaView 360, 39-inch Canon M50 with a wide-angle lens, Snapic, studio lights, all battery, so it's all wireless. And even for that, I have 4 lights and 8 batteries. One set of batteries is good enough for one event, but you never know. Even for the camera, I use batteries as well. And that, I probably have 3 or 4 batteries. That way each attendant has 1 on them, and a battery in the camera, and 1 charging. So we can always rotate them out with no big breaks in between.
If you're serious about building a profitable and purposeful photo booth business, don't miss this. I created a free quick start guide that breaks down exact steps to launch strong and book your first paid events fast. Whether you're just getting started or want to tighten up your foundation, this is for you. Download it now. Just hit the link in the description and get your copy. Yeah, for sure. In your area, do you feel like there's a healthy demand of 360, or what are your thoughts on 360 as like industry wide as far as in your local area? So what are your thoughts on 360?
I think there's a need, not a big need, but I'm glad I do have it. I don't book it a lot. Well, I don't want to say I don't book it a lot for weddings because I've booked, I think 2 or 3 weddings next year that want both a glam booth and a 360. So the demand is there, but probably not as much. You charge accordingly, so it's worth it to have it. I know I've made all the money back from that just from this year. But the photo booth for sure is my moneymaker. But the glam booth especially. And that's my favorite booth to bring out because it's fun and people look better in black and white.
For sure. So I guess going on that, as far as pricing your photo booths and your different booths, so how did you feel you found a price that makes it profitable for you? And then how do you also balance being competitive with others in your industry?
As a business owner, and I didn't realize it before, but I understand it now. You have to charge what you charge. Don't let the client dictate what you charge, because if you're a business owner and you have people to pay, you have to factor that into your price. The one thing you need to do is you need to pay your people properly so that they don't leave. Because you can find good people, but if you don't pay them enough or pay them often, then they won't be interested. They'll lose that skill. Because then for photo booth, the more you do it, the better, the more you know it. I have a package that's reasonable, and affordable for most. And that's the package that gets booked. A 3-hour event, DSLR, unlimited prints. That, I know that package can get me booked often, but I also have a premium package, which is my black and white. If they want it, they'll get the black and white. If not, they'll probably get the regular DSLR booth. I brand my glam booth as a more premium, luxury package. And even then, it still gets booked a lot. My labor rates don't change. My cost doesn't change. But the value is there for the client that knows what they want. Now, some clients know what they want and they'll find it. And most times for weddings, it's a glam booth. But you also have to deliver. I don't think you can deliver the quality of a premium glam booth with just an iPad. Some people might think they can, but I can't. For the quality of work that I want to do, a glam booth is with a DSLR booth, with a studio flash, with the M50 or DSLR camera. Presentation too, because if they want a luxury glam booth, most likely don't want props, and you really have to clean up your setup. It has to match. If they're wanting a premium experience, you have to give them a premium, which is a clean setup. You hide your wires, no props.
For sure. Just to drill it down a little bit as far as for your pricing, what do you use to guide your pricing? Like, how do you know how much to charge exactly? And what keeps you at that price or at a lower or higher? I guess, what do you use to guide?
That's a good question. And I got this tip from you. Back from when I got too many leads that I couldn't keep up, one thing I did, I just put my prices on my website. And it helps let the clients know where I'm at and what I'm worth. And when they book, 9 times out of 10, they already see my prices. And if they don't see my prices and they just book right away, I have a question on there, what's your estimated budget? And that's what I know what the client's looking for and if we're on the same page. And most times we are, but there's some events and where you know that it's not a good fit.
As far as like the type of events you get out in DC, do you feel like your bookings are like what, like 50-50, like 30% weddings, 50% weddings, 50% corporate, private parties? Like what is the, like if you were to just guess your ratios of booked clients?
I'd say 50% weddings, and like of that 50%, maybe it's, I don't know, 70%, I don't know, that's too much. 60% glam booth, 10% small parties, and 40% corporate events. So more weddings for sure. A lot of corporate events, but some of them aren't external corporate events. Most of them are internal corporate events. So we do a lot of private parties or company parties for some big companies out here.
Yeah.
But not external facing, if that makes sense.
As far as like the corporate events, do you feel like a lot of them do ask for customization of your booth experience, or do you feel not too many are asking for that? So what I mean is like by like wraps or like maybe branded touch to start screens, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and that's what I'm trying to do for next year. So a lot of my responses are automated, which I think I need to get away from, because I don't get a lot of inquiries for corporate events where they want custom backdrops or wraps, but I think it's also my fault because I don't offer it. Because a lot of my packages are the same, but I know there's a lot of value in providing the email data, custom wraps, custom props, custom backdrops. But yeah, they haven't asked for that, but I think it's because I don't really offer it or let them know that it's available. So now on my follow-up on my brochure, there's a question: is this a brand expo, brand activation expo? And what kind of additional features do you want? And and then I'll list it out, and then let's talk. Because then whatever you want, we'll make it happen. Because I do know that that's where a lot of the business can be at. There's a lot of potential there for branding and brand activations and those types of big events. Because I think weddings are good, but sometimes maybe there's more money to be made elsewhere or other types of events.
As far as this year, going back to the new levels of success you've had, what are you feel are like some key contributors to you having, the good year? Like if you were to narrow it down as to why, and I know you mentioned a couple, but I guess for you, what do you feel like has really helped you be successful in 2024?
It sounds cheesy, but I think my family helped.
It's not cheesy at all.
There's times where I just have to miss stuff because if someone can't work an event, like I'm usually the last resort to work an event. So my family's real flexible as far as when I have to not be there or be away or just work late at the studio. Because a lot of that did happen when I was trying to just build a studio, put it together so that we could start using it as a pickup and drop off spot. So I think my family was beneficial in me being successful, 100%. And also, I just learned how to say yes more to events.
What does that mean? Tell me more about that.
So like, there's times where I would get booked for an event and another inquiry for another day, another event for that same day. And you know what? I'm not sure if I can work that day or who can work that day. I'm going to book it and see what happens. Yeah, it all works out. Staffing issues, not issues, but I guess the biggest concern is like booking an event, but not being sure if anyone can work. Yeah, most times you already have the equipment. I've learned how to say yes more to more events. And if we can't, or if we can't have it staffed, I also have a good white label partners here as well, so I can always rely on them. And I have.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I had 3 events in one night all over DC, and they took care of it. I was stressed out in the beginning on how it's going to happen because at the time, I only had 2 booths, and I couldn't get this one up right here because I'm still building that up. But I was able to have the other one white labeled, so it all worked out. But yeah, just trying to say yes more to events and figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. And white labels can, like you mentioned, can provide some flexibility to being able to help your clients. What would you tell someone who is just starting to get into white labeling? Like they're looking for that flexibility. What is maybe like a piece of advice or two that you could give them about white labeling?
Yeah, no, great question, because I'm particular about my brand and my company. We have over 150 5-star Google reviews. So I want to maintain that, and I'm really particular.
That's a lot, bro.
Thanks. A lot of work. Take a lot of work. But so I won't white label with someone I haven't met. I won't white label with someone I don't know, or don't know their quality work, or I don't know what kind of booth they have. If I were a new owner, I would try to meet as many people or as many owners as you can in person, because I won't white label with you if I don't know you, if we haven't met. It's hard for me to give up that control on what the output looks like. If I know what booth you have, I can at least understand what that booth can do and what it looks like. Yeah. Some booths struggle more than others, but sometimes it's because of software. If I was the owner, I would for sure try to meet other owners in person just to make that connection.
Yeah, for sure. As far as white labeling, like how often do you feel it happens? If you're to just give an estimate of that.
Almost every month. Yeah, so it's November right now. I'm trying to figure out how it's going to work for December, because I think there may be a couple of nights where I have 4 events in one night. I might have an event where I have a 360 and a DSLR booth in one event, and another DSLR booth at one event. Staffing, yeah, it's white labeling right now. For the past, let's say 6 months, it's been pretty often, a couple of times a month. Either I white label or other companies white label for me.
For sure. Yeah. I was about to ask that. Like, how often do you white label for others? And it's probably, is it the same companies that white label for you too? Is that kind of how it works, or no?
I'm open. Once we have that relationship, it can go either way. So one of the reasons why I also white label is to give my attendants that experience. And they have to be working to build up that skill set and to have them stick around with you, just to keep them busy. I think that's important. It's hard to find good employees, and when you do, you have to do what you can to keep them around.
Real talk. If you're running a photo booth business without a solid contract, you're leaving yourself wide open. Cancellations, unpaid payments, last minute changes, it all adds up. That's why I put together a free photo booth contract template that you can start using to protect your bookings and your income. It's time tested and ready for real events. Grab it now for free. Just click the link in the description below. For sure, making sure they get work and they're engaged and getting paid. Just because, if you don't pay them for a while, they'll start to do other things, and you might lose them after a while if you're not paying them, for sure, providing jobs. I know for us at my company, I know it's difficult for us to white label just because we're already busy on our own. And then we almost like never white label for other companies just because I feel like our pricing is a bit higher. And so that's just like our thing, right? I try to lead the industry in our area as far as pricing. Like I think we're like the most expensive. I do it because, no, for sure, of course, there's pros and cons to it, right? But I'm hoping like people can see, like other photo booth business owners honestly see like what they're worth. If we can charge it, like you can at least charge half of what we're doing. But that puts us in a tougher position to be white label, just because I do pay my team well, and so sometimes these other photo booth companies are not willing to pay what we're asking, just because they're not charging high enough, I guess, if that's what I'm trying to say, if it makes sense. So it's important that if you do want to white label eventually, you do want to charge enough to your client so that you can pay for a white label and you're not like lowballing another company or anything. But that puts us in a good position for us when we want another company to white label for us, just because we can afford it, right? Whatever number they put out, it'll be okay, just because because we're on the higher price side. So yeah, I feel like that's what puts people in a difficult position with white labeling sometimes, is when they're not charging enough in the first place. And then other companies are like, why are you charging that low? We can't do it for you unless it's X number. And so, yeah.
No, and you're right. And that goes into growing as a company. Like once you go out of this side hustle mindset, you're gonna have to realize you have to charge more just to keep up with your real expenses. Like labor can be a lot if you do it right, but if you charge enough, it won't be that much. Because then once you grow from a side hustle to a business, you should always have insurance. There's rent you'll have to pay. I have snacks and drinks in my studio for employees.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man.
Parking DC is like 50-50 sometimes. Sometimes it's free, most times it's not. But yeah, those costs add up, and you have to charge enough where the profit is enough for you to want to do it more. You know?
Is your studio like in like office space, or what's that? What kind of space is this? Like,
yeah, it's an office building. I just call it a studio because it sounds cooler.
Yeah, no, it is a studio. Like, you got photography equipment, you're doing video, you're shooting marketing equipment, marketing material. Like,
yeah, the best part about that is I can do a full setup of, and again, having the studio is awesome. That's also my training area. We don't do 360s that much, or we haven't been. So before an event, a day or two, as part of testing, the overlay and all that, I'll bring the team in and we'll set it up together. That's our training area. So they'll set up a whole 360 event by themselves, and I'm there to teach them how to do it. Yeah, they'll put it together. We'll do our test runs to make sure the overlay is good, timeline is good, music's good, and then they break down. And they don't just train or learn at the event. If we need to do training at the studio, I have that space.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it, and it's convenient. It's a lot better than having everything at home, and that's the part I appreciate the most.
Yeah. As far as training and teching on the booth, or just the experience in general, what do you feel are some cool tech or some apps, software you found that have really helped you level up your business?
Yeah, I love that. I use Snappic for my software. I love how you can just create the event online on the website, and the support's awesome. I use their support feature a lot. It's great. I use Slack to communicate with the team, and we have different channels for every booth. So I have a channel for a 360, a channel for a DSLR glam booth, a channel for iPad booth, and that channel has tips and tricks for every type of booth, how to. So I think that's good training. And also I have a channel for live events. And we create a chat for every live event, and for that event we'll talk for everything that goes on for the event. So they'll do their test shots and send it there. If there's any issues or anything that happens during the event, we'll talk about it in there. And also for my event setup and pickup operation, I have a channel for that too. So the people that set up the photo booth, they'll talk in there and let them know when it's ready for pickup. And whoever picks it up, they'll say, hey, it's dropped off and whatnot. Slack is awesome just for communicating with the team and having it all in one section. I use Honeybook. It's good enough. It works. I've been using it for, I think, 5 years now. So it's hard to shift to another program, but it works it works good enough for now. But one thing I love about that is that it syncs with the Google Calendar. So all of the event details are on there, and I just add the team to the calendar, and they can see all of the events that we have coming up. And that's how we assign events too. They know what event it is, where it is, what booth they need, backdrop, props, anything they need to know is in that Google Calendar.
Yeah, for sure. Looking back at just the business in general, what were some of the biggest lessons you learned along the way?
Biggest lessons, I guess, don't be afraid to grow, if that makes sense. Because I could have hit this stage earlier if I wasn't so complacent in it and treated it like a side hustle. Because really, when I started trying to say yes more and make things happen was when I started to get booked. It was when I got booked more, I made more money. So I would say, also, don't be afraid to invest in quality equipment the first time. Buy once, cry once. Thankfully, I've spent money on the right equipment early. I'm glad I started with the DSLR booth with Legacy, because that's one of the best booths out there, and you really can't beat the quality of a DSLR camera with Studio Flash. You just have to know how to use it. But yeah, investing in quality equipment and really just investing in your business. So I could say I made a lot of money this year, the most I've ever made so far, but a lot of it went into going back into the business. I bought 2 more photo booths this year. They weren't cheap, but worth the money. Because now instead of just having 1 event a night, I could do 3 events a night. Yeah, just be willing to take risk and grow.
Yeah. What do you feel are some big wins you've had as a photo booth where it happened and you were like, whoa, I can't believe this happened?
Yeah, last weekend I had 3 events and I wasn't any of those events. That was like the best feeling ever.
What were you doing? What were you doing during the time? So your events were happening, but what were you doing?
I was just at home with the family. Yeah, I don't think we did anything. That's nice. No, normally I'd be at one event working until I get home at like midnight or so. But we had 3 events, and I was just at home with the family. Probably had a movie night. That was the best thing ever. It took a while to get there though, and for the first event that my attendants did by themselves, I know they could do it. They could do it. I wasn't ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I get the biggest win was just being at home when you have events going on. And once they check in and they set up, send you the test shot and what the photo booth looks like, you're good. They have all the tools they need to be successful. And I'm there just in case.
Yeah, I really love that. And honestly, that's why you start a business, right? You want to be able to have that liberty and that freedom to work or to stay home. And a big key thing with that is being able to build that team. And then I like how you said like your team was ready, but you weren't ready. And a lot of people feel that way and are still at that place where I don't know if I can trust them, like how they won't do it as good as me.
Yeah.
Or like, you know.
That's what you gotta let go of. No one will ever be as good as you. But you know what? 70% is good enough, right? Even when I used to be at events with my attendants, I don't want to watch them set up. I want to just leave when they set up because I don't want to micromanage either. So I'll just leave just because they'll do it. They won't do it like me, but it's still right. And I don't want to micromanage, and I just won't watch.
Yeah.
which is what would happen if they were at an event by themselves. They'll take care of it.
Yeah. What is a piece of advice you would tell the old Chris that was on the fence or wasn't ready? What would you tell him? It's like, why should I be ready in the first place? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say be ready now and just go for it until it's too late.
Yeah.
I could have hit 6 figures 2 or 3 years ago, but I didn't. That's just me not wanting to take the business seriously, but not. Or think it's hard to train the employees. Yeah, just do it. And you got to commit to it. Because I think once you have the leads and you have that down, it's just a matter of building that team so they can grow. And the sooner the better, I guess. But yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it's good stuff. And a lot of it, I feel like a lot of people who are watching this either have successful teams able to do a number of events a night, and then there's people that are still one-man bands doing
That's hard.
Yeah.
An event is easy, but if you're doing an event every night or 2 events a weekend, now it's good money, but you'll get burnt out. Yeah, it's hard when you're doing it by yourself. So yeah, building that team early, and I guess having the confidence to do so. You gotta commit to it, and you have to give people a chance to grow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, your team and for yourself too, because you also grow in the process of learning how to build a team. Like it doesn't happen by like on its own. It's not like I hire someone and all of a sudden I'm a good manager. I know how to build teams, right? It's a growing process for everyone. And yeah, for sure. That's the way I see it anyway. You want to look for those opportunities to be able to grow in your skill set so that when the next big thing comes, like you're totally capable of doing it. Yeah, I appreciate all the information, and there's a lot of good stuff. So for you, what would be a good resource you recommend for someone who's trying to grow their photo booth business? What is a good resource that you had that really helped you grow a lot in your business? What do you think?
So I think the photo booth groups are a good resource. You also have to look at the advice that's being given to you and by who, because I think you really have to see who you're learning from or who you're getting advice from, because who knows, you don't know. If you don't know, they could be the same level you are, right? And just learning at the same level or pace as you are. When if you look at some of the experts in the groups, and if you're there long enough, you can see who they are just by the quality of output that they have. I always look at people's quality of work and their setup and try to see how I can do that. Not copy, but if it's another way to have a clean setup, then that's good.
I want to ask you, Chris, just with the experience that you've had, just thinking about all the ups and downs and what's good and what's not, if you can give a piece of advice to someone who is just starting out with their photo booth, business, what would it be?
I would say it's worth it. There's a lot of potential here. You just have to do it the right way in the beginning. Invest in the right equipment, develop good habits, and just learn as much as you can. Having a basic understanding of photography is 100% crucial. You have to understand what makes a good photo, ISO, aperture, shutter, the basics. Once you have that understanding, you can train employees on what makes a good photo. And to be honest, those photo settings stay the same for every event. All you need to do is adjust the flash setting. That's it. But let's say if an app crashes or something happens to your event and all your settings are messed up. If you don't know how to react and adjust it to the correct settings, you're going to run into a lot of trouble and a lot of unnecessary stress at your event. So I think having a basic understanding of photography helps tremendously. Learn it on your own if you need to, or watch a lot of YouTube videos, but it's not hard. As a business owner, you should know that type of technical answers. That way you can train your attendants on how to react when anything does go wrong. I would say that because I think, again, the photo booth industry is easy if you know how to work your equipment. And a lot of that is just the basic understanding of photography.